Aloha, everyone. Michelle Melendez with Blossom Inner Wellness and StandTogetherHawaii.com. And I'm here again with amazing Captain Matt Denkin. And he, again, was in the fire service for 33 years and was a captain for 17 of those years. And he's been on his own freedom journey of becoming a sovereign. Today, we're going to be talking about the steps to getting out of this corporate system that enslaves all of us and what that means and how to do that. I'm also going to show you the Freedom School that is absolutely free that you can sign up right now. It's in works, it's in progress. So please be patient while we get all those things up. But Matt, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate the opportunity.
So first things first, let's talk about the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, so that's the first thing, because we need to free ourselves. We really need to have a strong foundational understanding of who we are and what has happened and who we've become unknowingly through deception. So it's clearly spelled out in the Declaration of Independence, of founding documents that to put it up right here, we can read it. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are installed among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Okay, so that clearly shows that we, the people, our rights do not come from man. They come from our Creator. And men and women created government to protect those rights. So then,
absolutely, yeah.
so these are founding documents. These are in stone. Okay, so then we have the Constitution, which confuses a lot of people. Many people think that their rights come from the Constitution, and that is absolutely not the way it works. The Constitution was installed by the consent of the governed to limit to the government, to kind of give a set of rules to the government of limiting their power to infringe upon our unalienable rights. And some of our rights are so important that they actually spelled them out in the first 10 amendments of the Constitution, like freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, to protect ourselves with to bear arms. So these are rights that cannot be messed with. You know, the Second Amendment shall not be infringed. So these rights, we have these rights. They do not come from government. These are inherent from our Creator. We have the right to protect ourselves. We have the right to speak out. And the government is there to serve us. That's what it's there for. So along the way, I won't go into the whole history, but you can figure out, you kind of go through and figure out that the big thing that happened that really minimized our status. A couple things happened, but one was the 14th Amendment. Okay, and the 14th Amendment created the U.S. citizen. Okay, so this is Congress created this. Okay, so we have the people up on top. Above, we have our Creator, God, or Creator on top, and then we're below them, and then the men and women created their government to protect their rights. And then they created the government created the 14th Amendment, and they created this entity called the U.S. citizen. Okay, the U.S. citizen, the 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. So Michelle, oh, there it is right there. Is that the 14th? Yeah. So here's what it reads. It reads, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. So there is so much in that one sentence, okay, that we're going to break it down a little bit. All persons born, okay, well, that sounds straightforward if you didn't know any better. But then when we'll go a little later, we'll go down and we'll show you multiple different definitions of person, what a person is, okay? And then in the United States, okay, the United States is not what we think it is. United States, there is a corporation. In 1871, the District of Columbia was created, Washington, D.C., which is a corporation. And in that 10 square mile area, is the corporation, a federal corporation called the United States. Okay. And US citizens are citizens of that corporation called the United States. Okay, so then it goes on, all persons born or naturalized. So what I'm seeing is all entities born or naturalized in the corporation and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Okay, and subject to that, the jurisdiction of the corporation. It's not, doesn't say are subject to, it says and subject to. So the fact that it says and subject to the jurisdiction thereof means there's obviously others that are not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Okay, and then it says those that are subject to it are citizens of the United States, again, the corporation, and of the state with a capital S, a state with a capital S. Again, that's a corporate entity wherein they reside. Okay, it's not a state with a, if you were writing, well, the city, I live in a city, you wouldn't capitalize the C. You know, the city that I live in, you wouldn't capitalize the C. Well, the state, we say, well, the state that I live in, you wouldn't capitalize the S. So, but that's a capitalized S. That's the corporate, that's the corporate entity. So the state.
Yeah, just think capitalized, capital. That's what I think of when my whole name is capitalized. I'm being capitalized. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So right there, there's a ton in that first sentence. So we unknowingly, most people, 99% of the population in the United States of America, for sure, has identified themselves over and over as under penalty of perjury as being US citizens. Innocently thinking that just meant that they're Americans. They thought that meant they're Americans. But no, US citizens are these entities created by Congress, created by the 14th Amendment. And because they were created by Congress, then and you've said penalty of perjury your whole life that you're that US citizen, now you are subject to the rules, regulations, ordinances, on all the laws that have to do with US citizens. So that is right there, the crux of it. So how we get out of this, how do we free ourselves, is learning and understanding the difference between being a US citizen and being one of the people of the several states, the states of the Union. Each, there's 50 distinct states. They're basically like 50 distinct countries.
Yes.
So we have to learn, and this is a republic. We, the people, live in the republic of the United States of America. So I never talk about the United States without adding of America, because there are different definitions of the United States. And if you don't clarify it, then the corporate officers will most likely presume that you're in that corporation. They're going to put you in that corporation. So that's the first thing. So how do we get out?
And I wanted to look up the word person because, but there's, I'm looking it up on.
I sent a link. I sent a link. It's the it has it's the one which has person.
It's right here. Sorry, I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, go ahead.
What is a person? So here we go. You know, in the imaginary world of legal fiction, and all commerce is legal fiction. A person, quote, person, is always an artificial legal person of one kind or another, legally generated. So a legal person is any subject matter to which the law attributes a merely legal or fictitious personality. So you guys can go ahead and read this if you're on this. There's multiple different, there's natural person, artificial person, juridical person. It goes on and on. So we have to understand that. The other thing that we need to understand is public versus private. Okay. The government, United States, being a corporation, all corporations can only deal with other corporations or corporate entities. So when they're dealing with men and women, they will capitalize their names, and a capitalized name does not designate a man or a woman. That is a corporate entity of some sort. And there's different versions where it talks about the trusts that are with those names that you have when you were born. They create a different trust, the Foreign Situs Trust, the Sesta KV Trust, and then you have the transmitting utility. So these are different versions of the spelling of your name. Okay, so this is really, really important. You have to, this is another big piece to learn. In addition to learning about the US citizen, you have to learn that when you're dealing with the government or anytime, you really do not want to identify as that name in the all capital letters. You are a man or woman and your name is in its proper form. So this is, and there's one of the links, if you're able to leave that link up on your page, it actually kind of goes into that a little bit. The one that talked about person that you just had up.
Mm-hmm.
It actually, if you scroll down, it goes into some of that a little bit. I think if you keep going, which isn't there, keep going. Keep going. Is that it?
Wait, I want to show this one right here. Person means an individual, a firm, a partnership, an association, a fiduciary, an executor, an administrator. Look at that, you guys. Limited liability company. That's a person. That just drives me crazy. Okay, good. Well, I'll keep going down. Oh, wait, what about this one? On the birth certificate, the legal person name is a deceased estate trust, you guys. You want to talk about that one quick, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know what, you'll learn as much here just reading this, as I don't have all these memorized, but what I do know is they're all entities. They're all entities. So you need to start and because the government can only deal with those names,
Mm-hmm.
part of it is just learning to be able to control those and signing as the authorized representative, becoming the authorized representative of those names. So you can do that by doing a fictitious business filing for like a DBA for those different versions of your name.
Yes.
And it gives the different versions on this, on that link that you were just on, it gives the different versions and says what they are.
Okay, I'll go back. Where is it? Is
You
it
can
still down?
capture those. Yeah, if you, there you go, right there.
Right here?
Well, let's see. Yeah, I mean, this goes into it. This goes into, I think, go down a little further. I think it might even have, see, they're right there, right there.
Oh,
John Henry W.
okay.
Foreign Situs Trust. That's so. Those are the different, when the government's going to be dealing with those different versions of your name like that. And that's what, those are the different trusts that they're getting into. The transmitting utility, public transmitting utility. I mean, that's like the IRS. They're always going to be doing your name that way. So
I went to for myself, and I'm still actually, let me still do a screen share here. I went to Matt recommended going to the Minnesota, what was it?
Secretary of State's office to do the DBA with the Minnesota Secretary of State's office for Minnesota.
Okay, so let me look this actually. I'll stop it and then I'll grab it, you guys. And so you want to get all three of those names of yourself.
So, but the first thing, and that's a little bit more, that's a little bit further along. I mean, ultimately, the first thing, you don't even have to do that yet.
Okay.
The first thing to get out is to embody and really understand where our rights come from. They come from our creator or God. They don't come from man. Learn about, and then basically you have to give notice. We have to give notice because everything is under presumption, and it's more than presumption because most of us have repeated multiple times over our life that we're US citizens or residents of the United States. So we have to now put on record, give notice that we are not that we are nationals of the United States of America. We're not under the 14th Amendment. And if you go on to, there is a sample that you can use. I would recommend adding more to it or changing it up a little bit. But if you go onto the matrixdocs.com, you
Oh,
have
that's right. Yep.
and scroll, put the
Do screen
bar, once you
share.
get onto it, get the bar about halfway down the page. The bar on the right, scroll down to it's about halfway down the page, right? Yeah, you're getting close right there. They're right there. Stop. This is the easiest affidavit language ever.
Oops, sorry.
You exit the slave system, and then and then your name, being a duly sworn under the penalty of perjury of the law of the United States of America, hereby declare, and I can't read it because it's behind my picture.
Hereby declare my intention and desire to be a national with God-given constitutionally protected rights and not a citizen of the United States in condition of voluntary servitude with civil rights under the scope and purview of the 14th Amendment. So it's that simple, you guys. And this is also,
and
go
but
ahead.
when you send it, you have to get it notarized. It has to be notarized. So get a notary, do and sign it in front of the notary, and then send it in. Okay. And once you do that, now you've given notice. Okay. And that undoes, you can add this, this I'm rescinding all previous signatures. You can add whatever you want, but this is the Secretary of State is the head person for determination of the information that's with them is the highest information to decide what your status is as your citizenship status. So
the other area you can find this is at the Freedom School. So I'm going to just log into that and show you guys. If you go to actions, this is the free Freedom School. The link is in the description, blossominnerwellness.com/freedom school. This is the first page that comes up. You can click on actions, and then it shows you, it gives you my letter, actually. Send your right to self-determination to the Secretary of State. You just click on that. And this is mine that you can copy and model. So, and you can change it however you want. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be exact, but this is the one that I sent personally to the, and I'm going to redo this and put notary down here because you do have to get it notarized. Don't forget that step. That's a really important step. And the notary is you sign it, you don't sign it before the notary is there. You have to sign it in front of the notary. And then, so that's the first thing. This is an ongoing Freedom School. I'm just putting it together right now. So yes. So okay. So when do they do the authenticate your birth certificate? Because that one is needed to get your authentication of your birth certificate for the passport, getting a national passport. Isn't that correct? Or am I incorrect on that?
I don't know that it needed to be authenticated. I don't believe it needs to be authenticated but I could be wrong. I don't remember it needing to be authenticated.
Okay, because I did mine, and this is it goes right to the form where you just send in to request for your birth certificate. I did this for the IRS and then also sent the birth certificate to the National Passport Agency. Now, just so you guys know, just so that I'm being fully transparent, I've been denied twice my national passport. So I'm going forward again. I'm not stopping. I did do the Secretary of State. I did rescind my contract with the IRS, and I'm working on getting my national passport. And Matt, what was your experience getting your national passport?
Well, again, I don't call it national passport, but because they're a corporation, they can only deal with other corporate entities. So the key is the information we give them. My passport my name is in all caps on the passport. So I sign it, authorized representative of that, because that's all they can do. They're always going to be in the all caps. So it's not really, you have to, once you understand this and you use that all caps entity, you separate yourself from it. So you don't want to, by signing as that all caps, you're creating what is called joinder. And now you're admitting to being that all caps entity. And that is, you do not want to do that. You become the surety for the debt of that all caps entity. So you don't want to do that. So what I did is I sent when I did my passport, and that's another class we could go over doing a passport, but it's just doing that simple 2 sentences to the Secretary of State will do the same thing. Will get you out of their system because you've given them notice. And especially if you do a FOIA request and get that information back to prove that this is what you sent, you've given them notice. And that's all I did with the passport when I claimed I was not a U.S. citizen all over the thing. And I made it very clear that I'm not a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. And I had a couple pages, 2 or 3 pages of at the end of my application, I forget, explanatory statements, 2 or 3 pages of explanatory statements talking about the United States, it being a corporation, and I'm not a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. I'm not part of that corporation. I'm one of the people of the several states, yada, yada, yada. So I had like 2 or 3 pages of law and in there. And that was all under, again, notarized. That was all part of the notarized information that I gave them when I put in my application, my passport application. It took, well, I got my application. It was during COVID. It was like 2020, right when COVID started, March 2020, I think. And it took a long time. It took me until July or August for them to finally give me my passport. And then it took over a year to get, because I immediately filed FOIA requests for the information that I gave them to process the application. And
so let me just pause you because I want to let people know what that means. He filed a Freedom of Information Act to show to them so that they could send him in for proof that he submitted that.
Yeah, so they gave me a passport with even though I had filed all that information attached to it, it says this shall remain attached to the application at all times as part of the application, that I'm not a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. And they gave me a passport. So obviously they're not denying it. They're agreeing with that because they processed my passport. So I did a Freedom of Information Act request, and everything was shut down. I kept leaving messages. I wrote a couple letters, nothing. After a year, it cost $50 at the time to do it. I don't know if it's gone up or not, but I finally did a passport fraud complaint against the Secretary of State's office for not giving me my FOIA docs that I had paid for. And literally within a week, I had everything all, they responded right away. I think I got an email, just text me a copy of your passport, and they sent it with a nice, almost like like a present with ribbons and, to whom these presents shall come. And it was so-and-so, I processed this application, yada, yada, yada. And it was all there, and all the explanatory statements at the end of the application were there. So it very clearly shows that I gave them notice. So, because we're not asking permission. We don't ask our servants for permission. We are in charge. We have to tell them, we put it on the record who we are to them. And so that's what we're doing. So don't be upset ever if you think, oh, they're denying me. They're not. No, they can't deny you. As long as you have proof that this is what you told them, they can only deal with you as that entity. So don't, by being upset, you're creating joinder with that entity. You're okay, fine. Give me if it says Mickey Mouse, that's fine. I'll be the authorized representative for Mickey Mouse. As long as it gets me in and out of
because I was upset. I was like, what the heck? They're telling me I'm still a U.S. citizen. But now what I understand after I called Matt and I was telling him what happened, and I still go back and forth with this, but he said, Michelle, they're not denying you. They're saying this, they can only work with Michelle Melendez fictitious entity. That's all that they can work with. So now I'm going to be sending them another letter saying, thank you so much. Yes, because they asked me, do you want your United States passport? So next I'm going to be sending them a letter saying, yes, I would like my United States passport. I understand that you can only work with my fictitious name, which I'm the authorized agent of. And I'm going to send them a letter like that. So please do send my passport. So that's what I understood about that. So thank you. And anything else you want to say about that? And I go back and forth, you guys, with all this because this is a lot. It's a lot for us to learn how to get out of the system and how to use our language correctly.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, the only thing that'll ever really get you back in is your signature by creating joinder with one of those entities. Kind of reversing what you're doing when because everything is commerce. Everything dealing with the government, it's all commerce. Courts are commerce. It's all contracts, commercial contracts. So everything that's that we don't like about the government, whatever they're doing with us. But it's all commercial contracts. And we have admitted that we are these commercial entities our whole lives to them. So it's understanding the game and getting out of it and realizing we are free men and women, and not creating that joinder again. And not when you get a bill and it's in your all caps name, in it, you know, and if you're disputing it or you're not in there, you know, you tell them. It's like, you don't say, hey, you sent me a bill. No, they sent this entity a bill. You let them know, you call it out. Hey, I received in my mailbox this, you know, a bill to this entity. And if that was meant for me, the living man, please send it to my proper name. And this is how I spell my proper name, you know, whatever. I mean, if it's a utility bill, or if it's your credit card bill or whatever, well, yeah, you pay those, but just sign authorized representative. That's fine. Just keep that distance. But if it's something like you're trying to get out of, like the IRS or anything, you know, and you've already given them notice, then don't create joinder by acting like they're sending it to you. Just call them out. Yeah, you sent this to, because I had franchise tax board send stuff to one entity in one version, and then they switched it to another entity in another version, and I caught them out on each time. But had I acted like and fought them like, you can't do that, then I would be acting like it was me, and I would be creating that joinder. So really have to keep a clear head about this. Do not create joinder. We're not those entities.
Joinder is contracting back in with them.
Yeah, it's blending you, making you be that entity. You're saying that you're that entity when you do that. You start arguing with them about it. And the other thing, I put it on an email I sent you, and I'll just state it so people can look it up so they can see with their own eyes. If they look up Title 28, 3002, 15A, then they can see the definition of the United States. And that's Title 28, 3002, and then 15A. Okay, and that says the United States means a federal corporation. Okay, that's what the United States means. Okay, and then if they look up the Uniform Commercial Code, remember it's all commerce. So if they look up in the Uniform Commercial Code 9-307H, then they'll find out that the United States is located in the District of Columbia. Okay, United States, that corporation, so we know that it's a federal corporation, well, and it is located in the District of Columbia. So that federal corporation called the United States is located in that 10 square mile area where the capital is there, DC, District of Columbia. Okay, then you can look up.
Okay, go ahead. Yep, I'm going to look them up right now. I have them now.
Title 4, Chapter 4. Subsection 110D. So Title 4, Chapter 4, subsection 110D. Okay, and it says the term state with a capital S. The term state with a capital S includes any territory or possession of the United States. Okay, so all the states of, these are all corporations, state of California, state of Nevada, state of Hawaii. These are all corporations. They're all subsidiary corporation. Has nothing to do with California state. So there it is.
So this was the first one.
Yeah.
And the United States means federal corporation.
Right.
An agency, yeah. And then the next one is the District of Columbia, and it was, which one was it? H?
Oh, yeah. So that was a UCC 9-307H.
H here. The United States is located in the District of Columbia, and the District of Columbia is 10 square miles, you guys. That's it. It's not the 50 states.
So and all these corporations have DUNS numbers. On the Dun and Bradstreet. So that's what, so they're providing governmental services, but it's not the true government. These are corporations that have taken over. So
do you know when they took this over, when this started happening?
Well, 1871 is when the District of Columbia, I think it was February 21st, 1871, the Organic Act created the District of Columbia. And I'm not sure when everything else became incorporated. I'm not sure. So, but obviously most people that are semi-awake are very upset with what's going on in this country and this world. And to me, it's, so what do we do about it? Well, this is the most important thing we can do, because is getting out of it and stop funding it, stop supporting it, because we are actually the problem if we continue to support it and fund it and go along doing what we've been doing. We are supporting it, just like as if we were supporting the Nazis in World War II. It's the same exact thing. So this is the first step, and you learn it, understand it before you take big steps.
Yes.
But really, this is what you want to know what to do. This is what we do. This is how we take our power back and stop funding this, because we're funding our own enslavement. We're funding the tyranny. We're funding the genocide that's going on over in Palestine. We're funding Ukraine, what's going on in Ukraine. We're funding it all right now when we're in this system. So we need to get out of it.
Yeah, and also, you know, it's interesting because here in Hawaii, the governor just walks out on the people. He doesn't listen to any testimonies. We've had numerous, I don't know if there's a thingy, but we've given them when they have different bills that are coming up, we've had hundreds of people say no, and they still pass it. They're not listening to us, you guys, because they don't represent us, because they are a corporation and they are doing what their higher ups, who pay them a shit ton of money. This is why our governor leaves office and he's a millionaire. You know, he wasn't a millionaire when he came into office. You know, so it's like, this is stuff this is what we can do. And please only do this when you understand what you're doing and you can really speak the language. So study. There are some, let me just show you quickly, in the Freedom School. This is gonna keep growing, this Freedom School. It's just a start. Insights is right here. And it's like a lot of, you know, there's just 3 right now, but these ones are enough. These 3 are enough to really get you to understand, help you to understand what the heck is going on. This one right here, Walk Out on the Cambal's IRS Tax Slavery, is really freaking good, you guys. And it's this is a free school, so it is going to be plugging away. And I'm actually going to use this as one of the first modules that is in the school. So please go to Blossom Inner Wellness, and the link is in the description.com/freedom school. Anything else you want to share around this one, this topic?
Yes, please. So every one of the videos that we've talked about this, there's all these comments, oh, so-and-so ends up in jail, Spike Lee, whoever. So this is, everything has all been based on contract. We're not telling anybody to just stop paying. We're telling people to cancel the contracts. It's all contract law. Learn the system, cancel the contracts, then stop contributing. It's voluntary. Everything is voluntary. You don't realize that, but you volunteered in. But since you're in now, if you just stop, you can't just volunteer out by stopping. You have to, you're obligated, because you've already stated under penalty of perjury that you're a U.S. citizen, and U.S. citizens are obligated. You're in this system, but you can stop being a U.S. citizen. You can learn how and get out. So cancel these contracts. To me, this is the most important thing to do. The first interview we did was about the fires. I wasn't really interested in the fires, and on that talking about them very much, because I said this is it's just one form of weather weaponization, and this is they're going to keep doing it. And now look at Acapulco. So to me,
I'm doing an interview with somebody today on that, on Acapulco, showing the weather modification and everything. So I think what happened with Maui and with Acapulco and with all of it is that it's helping people wake up to see something's wrong, because Maui was not a natural fire. It murdered tons more people than they're saying, and the devastation is astronomical. Now they're trying to steal the land. So it's like the only good thing out of this is it's waking us up, people up, to get out of the system and to stop these mad monsters. So that is what they are. They're absolutely demonic, evil monsters who are running our government and saying that they can do this. And now what they want to do, there's another thing that I'll be working on as well around, they think they have legal right to people's property and tell people what they can and cannot do with their property, and telling people that they cannot live in their ohana and rent out their main house. So they're trying to steal people's income. So people need to wake the fuck up, like, fast. And we
Yeah.
need to get out of the system. And we need to tell them, no more. You guys have no power. You have no power over us.
That's exactly right. The only power they have is what we've given them through our
Yeah.
ignorance and through the deception that they've done with
The deception and manipulation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obfuscating these terms, so we don't even know. We think the United States means a country. We think person means you alive,
Us.
means a woman. We think all these things that are not correct. So we have to learn. And then once we do those steps that we mentioned there of contacting the Secretary of State's office with notarized affidavit form to them, then we can do our revocation of election to pay taxes to the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're good to go after that. Then we can stop doing it. But you have to keep learning, keep studying and keep learning. So
yes.
Do you have on your site those websites that I had mentioned before, the wiseparis.com and sedm.org?
I haven't had a chance to put them up, but I will be putting them up this week, as well as my revocation of election that I sent to the IRS that people can model. I just have to take out my information, and that'll be posted this week before Friday. And I'll also put the links, because there are other schools, you guys, that you can pay for that has way more information that I have right now. So I'll put up some of those links for you to take a look at, and to go even deeper. But this was a really, again, good start, good just information to people to understand who you are. You are under God, not under the government. We should not be afraid of our government because they work for us. But here's the thing: the Zionists, the British imperialists, the Jesuits, it all starts from the Catholic Church, you guys. They are in charge of, they're running the world through corporations. Israel and Palestine are not at war with each other. It's the corporation of the Zionists, the British imperialists, the Jesuits. All of them have infiltrated, and they are attacking. Why are they attacking and doing this absolutely horrendous attacks? They just attacked a refugee camp. It's to get us to have our reaction. They don't care how many people die. They're actually counting on people dying. We need to take away their power by saying no, getting out of the contracts that we signed, stop funding them, and also believe in divine intervention. So anything else, Captain Matt, that you want to share?
No, I just think that this is hopefully people will really listen to this over and over and ask questions or whatever, because this is really foundational, and it's really important to embody this information. Go to wiseparis.com, WEISSPARIS.com, or that'll be on her site, she said.
Yeah, I'll put the links in the description, you guys. I'll put all the links in the description.
Yeah, and just keep studying and come back. Hopefully we'll do some interactive ones in the future too, where people
we will
because it's easier to just answer them on the spot. I'm not going to go through everyone that's well, no, that's not going to work. I'm just not going to go through that when I've already kind of explained it's all contracts. Once you get out of the contracts, there's no contract over you, and everyone that's gone to prison has broken a contract of one way or another. And there's some assume just showing up in their courts without doing certain things implies jurisdiction, implies why would you be there? Think of government like Walmart. If you're not a Walmart, if you have nothing to do with Walmart, why would you go to Walmart court? Why would you even show up there? So it's some of those things that people need a full understanding of how they get jurisdiction over you, how you get contracted in these some subtle ways. And so just study and start taking these steps. And then when enough of us do it, the government will shrink, and it will stop funding the evil that's going on in the world.
And it would be better for you to study this information than watch the news and watch other YouTube videos on what is happening in the world. Get yourself out of their system. Study this more than you watch YouTube videos on the stuff that's happening, because they just want us to be afraid and they want us to be reactive. And that's what gives them power. So just study this more, you guys. and do this for yourself and for your family, because more stuff is coming. So let's do a quick prayer. All right, Infinite Spirit, Great Spirit of all things, we know that this time in this present moment is for a purpose, for the awakening of the masses to remember that they are under you, Great Spirit, not under man. And we just know that each person who hears this message, that it lights something inside their heart, something, a knowingness that they know this is true, that they are not a slave, that they do not have to live in fear, that they have more power than they could possibly imagine. And it's giving them courage to take one step forward to regaining their sovereign freedom. We know that everybody on the planet right now is needing inner strength, and we know that it is being given to all people. We know that Lahaina people, East Palestine in the United States, Palestine, Israel, Ukraine, Russia, all the places that have been Acapulco attacked, Australia, Canada, China, everybody, all the people are under you, Great Spirit. And we know that you're holding them with love, with light, with inner strength, and with guidance. And we just ask that all people around the world step up and remember they are a sovereign, free person, free man, living man and woman under you, Great Spirit. We know that it is done. We ask for inner strength, and we ask for peace and harmony to be what is our future on this planet. And so it is. Thank you so much, Captain Matt. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
Jill.
you.
Thank you.
All right, you guys.
Likewise.
Much aloha.
Bye.